Imagine waking up in absolute darkness. Not the comfortable darkness of a bedroom at night, but a crushing, suffocating blackness so complete that the concept of light feels like a distant myth. The weight of an entire ocean presses down on your body, not figuratively, but literally. Thousands upon thousands of pounds of water bearing down on every inch of your shell, squeezing, compressing, never relenting. The pressure is so immense that your organs would be crushed into paste if they weren't specifically designed to withstand this nightmare. You try to move, but everything feels slow, labored, like wading through thick syrup while wearing medieval armor. The cold seeps into your bones, except you don't really have bones. It's a cold so profound, so all-consuming, that warmth becomes an abstract concept you can't even remember. 2 degrees Celsius, just above freezing, forever. Your body moves in slow motion because the icy water has turned your metabolism into a crawl. Every action takes enormous effort. Every movement requires careful calculation of energy you can't afford to waste. And the darkness. The darkness is eternal. You exist in a void where sunlight is nothing but a fairy tale, where the only illumination comes from the bioluminescent creatures that drift past like ghosts in a haunted house you can never escape. Welcome to the life of a giant isopod. You are born at the bottom of the ocean, in the abyssal zone, a place so hostile, so utterly alien, that it might as well be on another planet. While other creatures enjoy the warm shallows, the coral reefs painted in brilliant colors, the dancing rays of sunlight that filter through clear blue water, you get none of that. You get the seafloor, the wasteland, the graveyard of the ocean. Your nursery is a desert of mud and sediment that stretches endlessly in every direction, punctuated only by the occasional rock formation or the decaying corpse of something that died in the world above and slowly drifted down to your realm. From the moment you're born, you're a bottom feeder in the most literal sense possible. While dolphins leap through waves and sea turtles glide through sun-dappled waters, you scuttle across the ocean floor like a grotesque pillbug that someone inflated to nightmarish proportions. Because that's what you are, a roly-poly, a woodlouse, an isopod, except you're the size of a football. 14 inches of segmented armored body that looks like it crawled out of a prehistoric nightmare. Your 14 legs carry you slowly, methodically, across terrain that never changes, never offers variety, never provides anything resembling beauty or comfort. And you're always hungry. Not the casual hunger of missing lunch, but a desperate, gnawing emptiness that defines your entire existence. Because food doesn't come to the bottom of the ocean. It doesn't grow here. Nothing lives here that you can hunt, no plants that you can graze on. The only food is death. You wait for corpses. You spend your days crawling through the darkness, antennae twitching, searching desperately for the chemical signature of decay, a dead fish, a whale carcass, fecal matter drifting down from the surface, anything, everything. You're not just a scavenger, you're a living garbage disposal, and your survival depends entirely on the scraps that fall from a world you'll never see. The loneliness is perhaps the worst part. You spend most of your life completely alone, crawling through the abyssal darkness with no companion, no pod, no family. Giant isopods are solitary creatures by necessity because there simply isn't enough food to support groups. So you wander alone through the endless black, the only sound the muffled creaking of your own shell and the distant alien calls of creatures you can't see. You might go months without encountering another living thing. Months of nothing but darkness, cold, pressure, and the slow mechanical act of dragging your armored body forward, searching for something, anything, that might make existence feel less like an endurance test. And your body, your terrible, prehistoric body, feels like a prison. That thick exoskeleton that protects you from predators and pressure also weighs you down, makes you slow, makes you vulnerable in different ways. When you need to molt, to shed that armor and grow, you become completely defenseless, soft, exposed, vulnerable in a way that turns every moment into terror. You hide, press yourself into the sediment, and pray that nothing finds you while your new shell slowly hardens over the course of days. Days where you can't eat, can't defend yourself, can't do anything but wait and hope. The water pressure that surrounds you every moment of every day is something no surface creature could comprehend. It would crush a human instantly, collapse their lungs, implode their organs. You've adapted to it, yes, but that doesn't mean it's comfortable. That doesn't mean it doesn't affect you. Your body is designed to withstand this crushing force, but that design comes with limitations. You can never rise to the surface. You can never experience the freedom of open water, the gentle currents of the mid-ocean, the concept of swimming upward towards something resembling light. If you tried, if you ascended too quickly, the pressure differential would likely kill you. Your body would expand, your organs would fail. You're trapped in the abyss not by choice, but by biology. And then there's the existential horror of your reproduction. Female giant isopods carry their eggs in a brood pouch for months, protecting them in the darkness, but the mortality rate is staggering. Most babies don't survive. Most never make it to adulthood. They're eaten, they starve, they simply fail to thrive in an environment so hostile that existence itself is an act of defiance. And even if they do survive, what kind of life awaits them? The same crushing darkness, the same desperate search for food, the same slow, lonely crawl through an underwater wasteland. Scientists find you fascinating, of course. They pull you up from the depths, put you in aquariums, study your ability to survive without food, marvel at your prehistoric appearance. You become a curiosity, a living fossil, a glimpse into ancient evolutionary history. But in those aquariums, you don't thrive. You barely move. You sit in corners, your legs tucked under your body, looking exactly like what you are, a creature ripped from its natural environment and placed on display. One famous isopod in a Japanese aquarium didn't eat for 5 years. 5 years. And when it finally died, people around the world mourned, gave it a funeral, treated it like a celebrity. But was that life? Was that existence? Or was it just prolonged suffering in a slightly warmer, slightly brighter version of the same eternal darkness? The truth that haunts you, if isopods could contemplate such things, is that you're perfectly adapted for survival, but not for living. Evolution shaped you to endure the harshest environment on Earth, gave you the tools to survive where almost nothing else can, but it didn't give you joy. It didn't give you comfort. It didn't give you any of the experiences that make life feel worthwhile. You exist in a state of perpetual survival mode, every system in your body calibrated for endurance rather than experience. You're a giant in name only. Yes, you're huge compared to your shallow water cousins, those tiny isopods that scuttle under rocks in tide pools. But in the grand scheme of the ocean, you're nothing. You're barely a footnote. Whales swim overhead, miles above you, living lives of migration and song and social complexity. Schools of fish move in synchronized beauty through the sunlit zones. Even the mid-water creatures have bioluminescence, have adaptations that seem almost magical. And you? You crawl through mud in the dark, eating corpses, waiting to die. The fear never leaves you. Even though you're an apex scavenger, even though few predators bother with you because your shell is too tough and your meat too meager, you still live with constant vigilance. Because in the abyss, anything can happen. Larger predators do exist. Six-gill sharks, sleeper sharks, things even more ancient and terrifying than you. And you're slow. If something decides to attack, your only defense is to curl into a ball, pull your legs in, and hope your armor holds. You can't run, you can't fight. You can only make yourself into a target that's slightly harder to eat and pray it works. You're a giant isopod, born at the bottom of the world, destined to spend your entire life in a place that feels less like an ocean and more like the absence of everything good. And the ocean doesn't care. The world doesn't care. You'll live your slow, cold, dark life, and when you finally die, you'll settle into the sediment and become food for the next generation of scavengers, perpetuating a cycle of survival that has no winners, only creatures that haven't lost yet. This is your existence. This is what you were born into, and there is no escape.